In the last previous class, students, we had already solved some 8 problems. So today we are going to begin with the 9th problem, which has come for 2011 question paper of Bangalore University. From the following enterprises of RAM Enterprise, prepare departmental trading and PL account. They have given opening stock of Department AB, purchases of Department AB, sales of Department AB, wages of Department AB, closing stock of Department AB. So this to be taken as it is in the trading account. So the question of distribution does not arise because they have given specifically for each department. The other expenses: office salary 24,000, rent 16,000, discount allowed 4,500, discount earned 1,440, office staff appointed 10 persons in Department A and 5 persons in Department B. Area occupied 100 feet by Department A and 60 feet by Department B. So students, office salary 24,000. Salary to be distributed on the basis of number of persons. I repeat, office salary to be distributed on the basis of number of persons. Rent to be distributed on the basis of square feet. Discount allowed to be distributed on the basis of sales, because discount is offered at the time of sale. So discount allowed to be distributed on the basis of sales ratio. Discount earned, we earn discount when we make purchases. So 1,440 to be distributed on the basis of purchase ratio. So we need to only distribute 4 items, students. Office salary 1, rent 2, discount allowed 3, discount earned 4. Office staff appointed 10 persons in Department A and 5 persons in Department B. This is a information for us to find out staff ratio. Area occupied 100 feet by Department A, 60 feet by Department B. This is a information which will help us to find out the ratio of area occupied. So students, you need to work out 4 ratios: sales ratio, purchase ratio, office staff ratio, area occupied ratio. So 4 ratios needs to be calculated because 4 items have to be distributed. Now let us go in detail. Number of workers in Department A 10, Department B 5. So the ratio will be 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10. So the worker ratio will be 2:1. This will help you to distribute salary. Area occupied by Department A 100, Department B 60 square feet. So simplify. 23s are 25s are. So the ratio will be 5:3. So area occupied ratio will help us to distribute the rental charges. Next, sales. A department 45 and B it's 30,000. So simplify. 15 twos are, 15 threes are. So the ratio will be 3:2 if you simplify. So sales ratio will help us to distribute discount allowed. Purchases of Department A 20 and Department B 16. So the ratio is 5:4. How? 4 fours are 16, 4 fives are 20. Simplification. Purchase ratio will help us to distribute earned. Now let us look into departmental trading account, students. This is departmental trading and PL account. Opening stock take as it is, as it appears in the question. Purchases specifically given in the question. Wages given in the question. Sales and closing stock is also given in the question. So therefore sales, closing stock total minus the debit side, you get a gross profit of 29,000, 14,000 and 43,000. Bring that gross profit back to the PL account. The discount received, it's also called as discount earned to be distributed in purchase ratio. So purchase ratio just now we calculated in the previous slide. So discount earned to be distributed in purchase ratio, calculation not shown here. So you get 800 for A, 640 for B, and total 1440. Salary given in the adjustment 24,000 to be distributed in sales ratio. Sorry, to be distributed in number of workers ratio. So number of workers ratio is 2:1. Rent 16,000 to be distributed in area occupied ratio 5:3. Discount allowed to be distributed in sales ratio 45,000 into 3/5, 2/5. So you get separate for A and B, then you get a total. Now students, in case of department A, credit side total is more. Therefore they get a profit of 1,100. In case of B, debit side total is more. Therefore B have incurred a loss of 1,160. A get a profit, B get a loss, and thus the final net loss will be 60. So students, work out this problem. So the 10th question. The business wishes to ascertain approximately the separate net profit of two departments for 6 months ending 30th June 18. It is not possible to value the stock as on the above date. However, the rate of GP is determined at 40% and 30% on the sales of two departments respectively. There are in all 6 departments. Indirect expenses are to be charged in the proportion to the sales of two departments, except as to 1/3, which is to be divided equally. And the following informations were extracted from the books for the period ending 36/2018. So we have stock as on 1/1/18, it's called opening stock of department X and department Y. Sales specifically given for both the department. Purchases given for both the department. Expenses directly incurred given for both the department. Indirect expenses of all 6 departments were 36,000. The sales of other 4 departments totaled rupees 1,40,000. Prepare a columnar trading and PL account for half year ending 36/2016. Make a stock reserve for each department at 7% on 36/18. Now let us understand in detail. The business wishes to ascertain approximately the separate net profit for two departments for 6 months ending 30th June 2018. So students, conclude. The problem is only 6 months ending. It's not an account for 1 year. It's an account for half year ending, 6 months ending. Number 2, you need to work out problem only for two departments, department X and department Y. It is not possible to value the stock as on the above date. That means as on the above date means ending date. So that means closing stock cannot be calculated. It's not given in the question. So we need to calculate the closing stock. So closing stock is not being able to value. So we need to calculate the closing stock. However, the rate of GP is determined at 40% and 30% on sales of two departments respectively. So students, we have worked out such kind of problems in case of fire insurance, where we calculated stock on the date of fire. In the same sense, we need to calculate the closing stock. So find GP and then find closing stock. So here closing stock is missing. So first you need to find the closing stock. How to find closing stock with help of GP percentage. So find GP and then you get closing stock. There are in all 6 departments. Catch this point, students. There are 6 departments. Department X, Department Y and another 4 departments. We don't know the name of the other 4 departments. So we should bother only for Department X and Department Y. So students, there are totally 6 departments, but we are concerned only about 2 departments, X and Y. So X and Y plus there are another 4 departments. So totally 6 departments are there, but we should work out only for 2 departments. Indirect expenses are to be charged in proportion to the sales of 2 departments, except as to 1/3 which has to be divided equally. So what do you understand this? Look at the bottom. Indirect expenses of all 6 departments were 36,000. So 6 department indirect expenses were 36,000. So what you do, the students? 36,000 divide into 2 category. Divide into 2 parts. 1/3 of 36,000 to be distributed equally. 2/3 of 36,000 to be distributed in sales ratio. See students, the indirect expenses comes to 36,000. So this 36,000 is an indirect expenses of all 6 departments. So what you should do with 36,000? 1/3 should be distributed in equal ratio. 2/3 should be distributed in sales ratio. Let us read it back. Indirect expenses are to be charged in proportion to the sales of 2 departments. That means indirect expenses to be distributed in sales ratio, except as to 1/3 which has to be divided equally. So what do they mention? 1/3 to be distributed equally. I repeat, 1/3 to be distributed equally. Remaining 2/3 to be distributed in sales ratio. However, students, keep in mind, 36,000 is an indirect expenses of all 6 departments. So I repeat again, 36,000 is an indirect expenses of all 6 departments, X, Y and other 4. So conclude, 36,000 1/3 distribute equally, 2/3 distribute in sales ratio. The following informations are extracted from the books for the period ending June 30. Opening stock, sales, purchase and expenses directly incurred. Indirect expenses of all 6 departments were 36,000. The sales of other 4 departments totally 1,40,000. So other 4 department sales is 1,40,000. So sales of X department 1,40,000, sales of department Y 1,20,000 and the sales of remaining 4 put together 1,40,000. Prepare a trading NPL account for half year ending June 30. Make a stock reserve for each department at 7%. So, students, sales ratio. Sales of X 1,40,000, sales of Y 1,20,000 and the sales of other 4 departments put together. All 4 departments put together 1,40,000. So there are 6 departments, X number 1, Y number 2 and another 4 departments. So we have totally 6 departments. So the sales of X department 1,40,000, sales of Y department 1,20,000, sales of other 4 department put together 1,40,000. So simplify. 2 sevens are 14, 2 6s are 12, 2 sevens are 14. So the ratio will be 7:6:7. I mean 7/20, 6/20, 7/20. Now students, why do we require sales ratio? Remember in the previous slide I told you, indirect expenses of all 6 departments is 36,000. So 36,000, 1/3 distribute equally, 2/3 distribute sales ratio. So let us calculate indirect expenses. 36,000. Again I stress students, 1/3 distribute equally. 1:4. How do you get 4? See here students, in the last column, other 4 departments, 1:1:1:1:1. So all 4 departments put together is 4. And I repeat students, 36,000 is the indirect expenses of all the 6 department. Okay, all the 6 department. So distribute 12,000 into 1/6, 1/6, 4/6. 4 is a ratio of 4 department. 1:1:1:1. So 36,000 into 1/3 you get 12,000. That you distributed equally. X will get 2,000, Y will get 2,000. Other 4 departments will get 8,000. That is 2, 2, 2, 2. But we are not bothered about other 4 departments. Remaining 36,000 should be 2/3 should be distributed in sales ratio. So 24,000. How you get 24,000? 36,000 into 2/3. So you get 24,000 into sales ratio given on the top. 7:6:7. That is 7/20, 6/20, 7/20. You get 8,400, 7,200. And for the remaining 4 departments, you get 8,400. So the total of X 10,400, Y 9,200. Other 4 departments we don't require, which is in red color students, not required. We are only concerned about department X and Y. So 36,000 indirect expenses, 1/3 distribute equally, 2/3 distribute in sales ratio. So 1/3 is 12,000, distribute 1:1:4. How you get 4? 4 departments ratio. And 2/3 you get 24,000, distribute in sales ratio as above, 7:6:7. So indirect expenses of X 10,400, indirect expenses of Y 9,200. Here's the departmental trading and PL account students. So dear students, ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಇವಾಗ ಇರೋದು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ PL ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಬೈ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ separately. Opening stock given separate, purchases given separate, direct expenses given separate. Tadanantara they have given you all the 3 expenses separate, sales separate, closing stock is not given, but they have given information regarding the calculations of gross profit. So question they have mentioned very clearly, the rate of gross profit is at 40% and 30% on the sales of the 2 departments respectively. ಪ್ರತಿ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಮಾರಾಟ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬಂದು 40% ಮತ್ತೆ 30%. So 50 we have 1,40,000 is the sales of department X into 40% ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you get 56,000 as a gross profit for X. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ Y ದು ಮಾರಾಟ ಬಂದು 1,20,000. So 1,20,000 into 30%, you get 36,000 as a gross profit. So thereby you get a total of 92,000. gross profit, and then carried forward that gross profit to the PL account. And PL account ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, ಒಂದು indirect expenses. So indirect expenses for X is 10,400 and for Y it's 9,200. This we have already calculated in the working note. So thereby X gets a net profit of 45,600, Y gets a profit of 26,800. Thereby total net profit is 72,400. So now let us look into the next question. So the 11th question. A departmental store has two departments, namely A and then we have B. So the name of the two departments are A and B. It was arranged that department B has to receive its requirements from department A. So whatever stock that B requires, it has to get it from A. So A is a supplier department, B is a receiving department. So B ge ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಖರೀದಿನ A ಹತ್ರ ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. So the purchases of B has to get from A. So A is a supplying department and B is a receiving department. So this is called interdepartmental transfer. So interdepartmental transfer, A you need to record in the credit, B you need to record in the debit. The following are the figures extracted from the books of accounts for the year ended 31st December 18. We have opening stock 20,000 and dash. Then we have purchases from outside given separately to be recorded in the debit side. Sales given separate, recorded in the credit side. Salary given separate, record in the debit side. Goods supplied by A to B 15,000. So A is a giver department, B is a receiving department. So B record in the debit, A record in the credit. Then we have closing stock of both the department, record in the credit side. Other expenses are rent 3,000 and general expenses 1,000. Area occupied is 2:3. It means distribute the rent in 2:1 ratio. So ಬಾಡಿಗೆನ 2:1 ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. No information about general expenses. So distribute general expenses in the ratio of 1:1. So general expenses ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ general expenses ನ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Prepare departmental trading and PL account. So departmental trading and PL account for the year ended 31st December 2018. So we have sales credit side given separate, buy closing stock given separate, and two opening stock given separate for A and B, but for B opening stock is nil. Two purchases given separate for A and B, and then transfer. B is a receiving department, debit. A is a supplying department, credit. ಕೊಡೋ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಕಡೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದು ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಕಡೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ದ ರಿಸೀವರ್, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ದ ಗಿವರ್. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಬೈ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಿಗುವಂತ ಗ್ರಾಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇಸ್ 20,000, 13,000 and total 33,000. And next we need to continue the PL account. We have two salary given separate, two rent distribute in 2:1 floor space ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. So 2:1 ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆನ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Then we have general expenses distribute 1:1, and thereby you get a net profit of 11,500 for A, 9,500 for B, and 21,000 for total. Thank you.